Yeah, so our team started about 18 months ago at the BBC, and our first focus was very much on the audiences and how can we use machine learning to drive engagement on the website and on the app. So recommendation engines would be the first thing that we do. So building different or applying different techniques that use our data about the content and recommend more content to the users. And it's proven to be really successful. We kind of got it to the point where we have multiple algorithms running in the system, and also we're trying to segment the audience, so understand who they are, where they come from, what kind of devices they use, to be able to differentiate the experience. So it's like our first step to personalization, to true personalization. So that's one set of projects, and currently we're evolving more towards how can we empower journalists with data tools to make better decisions at every single stage of the production process. So when you think about content, you have to plan what you cover, then you need to create the content, then you need to publish the content. So on every single stage there's loads of tools that support journalists to do it better. So we would like to take data from the audience and from the production to empower them to make better decisions in terms of what is relevant or what is going to be relevant to the audiences they want to target, but also how efficiently to deliver that content, and how to make sure that we're going to get the content live as quick as possible. Yeah, it's definitely, there is definitely a very different mindset when it comes to our data. So I think the way there's two or probably three now basic data points or data sets that we use. So one is the data about the user, which is the most sensitive and the most valuable to us. So we try to treat it with the biggest respect that we possibly can. So when it comes to anything that the user is telling us about themselves, we're never going to use it against them in a way. We're only going to use it to inform our content creators to make better content and more suitable content for them, and also a better product and more closer to their needs. Product, but we're not going to use it in a without any biases or assumptions. So we're going to make sure that it's all kind of a clear and debiased. That's why we think a lot about things like public service algorithm, in which we're trying to measure diversity of the content that we recommend, for example, or how surprising that could be, or how new it is, so that we don't close the user in a echo chamber or a filter bubble. The other data set is what we know about the content. So we're actively creating a lot of data and trying to enrich what we know about the content to learn more about the user and to learn more about their needs. So I think that kind of creates and opens up a very different approach to create algorithms, because we're going to rely more about knowledge about our product rather than knowledge about the user, and just kind of use that information. And then the third data set is the production. And again, here it's about keeping the balance of allowing for creative freedom and not being controlling or monitoring, but at the same time giving journalists and planners and people who are editing our content information and knowledge about what is smart and what is efficient in the process of creation. At the BBC, I think the biggest challenge, the challenge for us as an organization is to make sure that we reach all audiences. So young audiences and female audiences are a challenge to us that we're all trying to resolve. But in the process, of coming up with different solutions, we're also facing internal challenges, like our legacy systems, our website, our newsroom are old piece of kit. Like that, this is something that we were building for years, and really making sure that they're resistant and they are able to respond in the times of crisis. So that's a big challenge for new and innovative solutions, because you need to make sure that they all match, that they talk to each other, and we're not creating something small here on the side, but we create something that is mainstream and impactful. So that's one of the challenges. And the second challenge when it comes to internal, building the kind of systems is culture. So we all need to change, and I think especially when you talk to technology departments, there is a lot of blame on editorial and on journalists, which is absolutely 100% not true, because internally within the technology departments, there has to be a big step change when it comes to the way we operate, and that relates to our forward thinking, our resistance to risk, our diversity in our team. So that's the kind of challenges that we're facing. Yeah, so we're definitely going to be growing teams that are supporting data-driven solutions. We are going to be much more strategic when it comes to data collection and storage and making accessible to systems. That's why we're putting so much focus on metadata and growing that knowledge about our content. That's going to happen both in a kind of a human and robotic way, and the two are going to work together. We also going to focus on building up the production data sets and understanding how we work and how we operate a bit more. And then trying to keep having that audience perspective in mind and feed it into the process. So I think those are the kind of the next big things that are coming up. Wow, that's really that's a broad question. I definitely think that the media organizations, first of all and foremost, should take data into account when they're building their strategies and really realize how much value and how big of a part the data is gonna play, and not only in that kind of a bottom of the funnel, what I call, so only that interaction with the audiences, but also everywhere else in the whole process. And I think that realization is going to help build better strategies. I think the organizations should also realize how much they already have. So we have so much content, and I think it's not always about like new shiny things, like new robotic content generators and so on. It's a lot of that is about taking old content and really make a use of it with help of data, because usually the problem of not using it's because it's just too costly. So data-driven solutions and AI can help utilize the content that already exists in new ways. And then I think third thing is about people and about teams and about diversity. It's really hard. I mean, especially in the big organizations, and a lot of publishers are big and have their legacy. Well, when I say legacy, it's we have telly, we have our live channels, we have a lot of systems, local radios and so on. So a lot of systems that we need to maintain. And this is applicable to other like publishers as well. So it's important that we create new teams that can drive that change, and that we give them environment to operate in a fast way and in an agile way to deliver things. So I think that's really, really important. Don't block data teams from doing what they want to do because there is too much risk, or because you think that there is too much risk.